All right, thank you. Once again, my name is Graham Bingham. I'm the education team lead with Jackrabbit Technologies, and it's my pleasure today to host Getting Started with Jackrabbit. The purpose of this webinar today is to get you oriented with the software. What I'd like to do to get underway is to find out a little bit more about you. I'm going to run a quick poll just to find out how long you've been using Jackrabbit. So I'm just going to go ahead and launch this, and we'll get an indication. If you could take a moment to let us know how long you've been using Jackrabbit. A couple of seconds here for people to vote. Okay. Excellent. So we're getting good results. Thank you very much. So we got some people here that are just new, just started new to the organization. Welcome. I'm happy to have you here. Others that are just starting now as well, and some who have already been with us for a little bit. So that's great. We have a good mix of people on the webinar. So we're going to do a bit of an orientation, and then we'll do a little bit of the setup guide for those of you who are brand new, just starting with Jackrabbit for your organization. So we'll get going with that. My next poll I'd like to run is just whether or not you're aware of our Jackrabbit user group. So let's go ahead and launch this. We have a Jackrabbit Facebook user group. We have maybe 1,500 people or more active on that group. It's a great source of peer-to-peer information. So if you're not in there yet, we do recommend that you join. And if you, that's what I'm finding now. Some of you have joined, some of you not yet. How do you get in? Excellent question. You will receive a link today at the end of the webinar in a follow-up email. Along with the recording of this webinar, you will also receive a link to the Facebook group. It is a closed group, so it's nice and private. And once you send in your request, we just ask that you indicate what organization you're with, and we will get you set up and active in there. So that's great. Excellent. So let's take a look at what our agenda is for today. So we are going to do a navigation tour, take you on a tour of Jackrabbit. We'll take a look at the weekly view calendar. We'll touch on the setup guide, and we'll show you how to find help and support and next steps. And we'll follow with a question and answer session. So without any further ado, what I'm going to do now is just move you over right into the software so we can take a look at the software. 1 second here while I change my screen. All right, so you should be looking now at the executive dashboard of Jackrabbit. I'm just going to enlarge the screen just a smidge here so you can get a better view. All right, so let's just start off with a basic overview of the executive dashboard. And I'm going to go starting over on the left-hand side under the alert section. This section here gives you a real-time activity of what's going on in the software. So for example, at the upper left-hand corner, you're going to see that there's an alert indicating that there are classes open that have people on the wait list. There can be incomplete time entries if you're using the staff time clock. Absences show up here, any trials, birthdays coming up, any items in your point of sale store that are below reorder quantity will be indicated here, and also any classes with incomplete attendance will be indicated here as well. You'll see I've got a lot in here. I just want you to see what the alerts look like. So this is a good idea to keep your eye on this section. Right below that is a task manager, and this is just a very simple basic task manager that allows you to review, add, or mark completed any tasks. So side duties, anything that needs to be done in your organization, you can keep track of those very easily on the task manager. You can simply click add, and this will allow you to create the task. You can assign it to any other user in the system, or in fact to all if you wish to do so, and any detailed notes and duties and so on. So you can go ahead and click save when that is completed. I'm just going to cancel out of that. Right below that, you're going to find an announcement section. Right now I just have welcome to Getting Started with Jackrabbit. You can edit this, and this is a great way to communicate internally with any of your staff members, anyone working within the software. This is a regular word type editor, so you can indicate, yeah, maybe you got staff photos coming up, or it's a parents' night out coming in, or an open house, or anything that you need to communicate to anyone that might be working at your front desk. You can certainly let them know what's going on by using the announcement section. Excellent. Right below there, you have enhancements. Now, Jackrabbit is constantly working on improving our software. So you'll see new enhancements rolled out on a regular basis. Right now we're working on some big ones. We do have smaller enhancements that are typically released on a weekly basis. So it's a good idea to keep an eye on the release date and any new enhancements that may benefit you or affect the way things work. We typically strive to make the software more easy to use. So that's what we're always working to do. So keep an eye on there and you'll find new enhancements. All right, on the upper right-hand side, you will find your revenue summary. Now, depending on your permission structure for your user ID, you may or may not see this. Revenue summary gives you a month-to-month basis of what your income has been, and it will compare it to the previous year, so you can get a real good idea of what's going on. This is my test database, so it's not real data, so it's looking a little bit odd here, but yours will automatically start developing as you use the software. If you've been using it for a while, as some of you have, you'll already see this. Located right below there is the aged accounts, and this is your typical 30, 60, 90-day accounts receivable indicator. And this will show you how much is outstanding based on those criteria. So you'll see right here, more than 90 days, I'm showing nearly $11,000 outstanding. That would not be very good in real life, but this is a test database, so we won't worry too much about it. And then finally below is your key metrics. The key metrics will show you the total number of enrollment, how many enrolled per category 1, which we'll speak to in a moment, and any other information drops, enrollments through your client or parent portal, web registrations, how many active families, and so on and so forth. So this can be controlled here. You'll find a settings section, and in that settings section you can customize how what your values are per you know, how many enrollment, green, yellow, what's best for you, and so you can customize this anytime you wish to do so. Go ahead and click save, and your changes would be saved. One other tip, if you find there's too much information on here, you can always use these little arrows to hide sections. And so you can clean up your dashboard if you wanted to do so. And that works out really well also. I'm just going to go ahead and mute the attendees just so that if you're doing anything in the background, it won't be picked up. So don't be discouraged if you, when I mute you here, just one sec. There we go. Thank you. Okay. Now, if you want to open those up again, just double click again, or a single click rather, and this will open or close these sections. Just as simple as that. So that's the basics of the executive dashboard. Right above there, you're going to find refresh dashboard. So occasionally things will be happening and it isn't live updated. You can just go ahead and click refresh and it will do literally that. And any new information that may have come in will now be indicated. Right dead center underneath the word executive dashboard is your weekly view. And I'd really like to pay attention to this section. It's really handy. When I click this, it's going to open a pop-up window that will show me a class calendar, or a calendar rather, for this week that shows all of the various classes that I have going on in my studio. You'll see how brightly colored it is. I'm going to show you how to color code those. These are all based on your category 1s. And category 1 is your basic income categories, the different types of classes that you might offer. So you'll see in bright pink here, I have my dance classes. So I have a tap, I've got a dance jazz here, we've got ballet down here. I also have some tumbling classes going on. Those are indicated in purple. Summer camps are indicated in blue, art classes in yellow, and so on. I even have swim classes in here at red. Now, not everybody has all of those different types of classes, but I wanted you to see the different variety of categories you can create and how easy it is to provide the colors for them. So this is at a glance. What if I want to look at just today's classes? So I can go ahead and click on Thursday on the header, and now this will show me, based on the individual instructors that I have, who's teaching what. And if I want to know where they're teaching them, I can click on the room view. The room view will now show me what studios, pools, some that don't have any room, those need to be fixed. But this will give you a really clean idea of what's going on, and I'll show you how to customize all of these for your own purposes in just a moment. You can also advance to the next day if you want to see what's going on next day. And if I close out of here, let's just go back to the weekly view. And as I mentioned, weekly view shows a whole week. So if you use the next button, it will advance you to the following week. The nice thing about the weekly view also is you'll see in parentheses the number 5. This indicates that I have 5 openings in this class. There are maximum size of 8. There are currently 3 people enrolled, and you can see that for each and every class. This is live updated. So do you notice where it says as of 6/29? Because I have advanced to this week, I'm looking at this day. So as of 6/29, those are my accurate numbers. Next week, there may be a drop, or there may be a future enroll. So if you advance to the following week, the numbers for the registrations will be accurate as of that day. So that's a really handy tool to know what's happening in the classes coming and going. You'll also notice that you can enroll existing students directly from here. So this is a great place to run you're enrolling new students. You can see what's going on, enroll directly from there. You may also register an entirely new student, new family account created simply by clicking on this button here. Very simple. Excellent. If you want to know who's in the class, go ahead and click the Show Students button, or checkbox rather. This refreshes, and now when I hover over a class, it will actually list the student names, and you can see that right in here. So again, really great information that's available for you. Splendid. So we'll close out of that, and that is your weekly view. Now, right on the right-hand side rather, you see Help and Send Idea. Help is now our single button portal to your help and support channels. Let's go ahead and click that for a moment. I want to take a moment now just to mention, if you are using Safari as your browser, or if at any time the help button does not launch, it means your browser security is set such that it does not allow pop-ups. So please, you can check, just Google how to change that, or you can reach out to our support team. But of course, if you can't hit that button, it's hard to reach our support team, isn't it? So just check your security settings if this doesn't work, and allow pop-ups in your browser, and that will work. Typically, Firefox and Chrome, there are no problems at all. We only find that indicated with Safari, because by default it blocks it. All right, so in your help section, you can search our help center directly in the search box. You can direct access our help center. We have a video help channel on YouTube that will help with all aspects of Jackrabbit. You will find tons of videos there. I think there's over 500 at present. And just like the live and recorded webinar, just like the one you're on now, you can find the list of webinars that we have, view recorded versions of them, as well as attend live. If you want to reach our support team, you can submit a ticket. We have a very fast response on email tickets, and this is a great use if you have something you need to dig into. Say you've got some sort of confusing thing going on, maybe something with an enrollment, whatever, that needs a little bit of investigation. Send us in a support ticket with as much detail as possible, and we'll be able to research that and get back to you. We're typically back to you within an hour typically, but no more than 2. If you have a quick question, you can use Quick Chat, Our quick chat hours are from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern. You can check in at any time. And if you would like someone to call you, no problem, Monday to Friday, 11 to 6. Just let us know what you're working on. We'll give you a call. And also, if you're brand new to Jackrabbit and you want to schedule a call with a product coach, you're welcome to do that as well, and it helps get you all set up and answer all your questions and make sure you're off to a good start. So all of that is found just under your help button. So don't be shy, reach out. We're happy to help. As you're working in Jackrabbit, you may find that you'd like it to do something it doesn't seem to be doing. Go ahead and click your Send Idea button for this, and let us know what you're working on and what you would like to see an improvement for software enhancements. That goes into our support team. We take a look at it, and we may have a solution for you already, and we'll let you know what that is, or we'll log it in for our product team, and they will evaluate and prioritize those enhancement requests. So please feel free to let us know. Excellent. Final thing to show you on the tour is the blue menu bar. The blue menu bar is where you are going to navigate throughout all aspects of Jackrabbit. And you'll see that each one has a drop-down menu as I navigate across. Key areas are the families, students, and classes. Then you have your staff. And I'm going to talk a little bit about staff and users in just a moment to give you a distinction. All of your transactions are indicated here. Let's take a look at a family. I'm going to go and list my active families. And we're going to go ahead and click on the Adams family. You'll find that in Jackrabbit, all pages are navigated the same way, meaning they are done by tabs. So on the Summary tab of the family, you'll see all the contacts, the students, what classes they're enrolled in. You can direct click to a student to get more detailed information. This gives you all the classes that that student is enrolled in and all the details associated. You can also click on their Classes tab, which will show not only their current enrollment, they will show future enrollment, if any, as well any past enrollment. So this is a really great tool here. You can also go on to the Miscellaneous tab, upload a picture of the student if you wish to do so, any notes for the role, contact information, and so on. So this is a really great area to get all your information in. If I go back a page here, back to the main family, I can click on any of the contacts, and inside here we also have general information, email, and contact information available for that contact. I have a lot of empty information here. You would, of course, fill this out as you are needing it. All right, we'll just go ahead and click Save Changes. No changes to save. We're safe there. If I look at classes, I'm going to list all my active classes. This will show all the classes, the start and end dates, the days of the week, the times it meets, and so on. So we'll show you how to create a class in here in just a moment as well. But this gives you just an idea of how to navigate through. Splendid. All right, so I'm going to pause now for a moment. I'm going to go back home to here. And what I'd like to do for those of you who are brand new to Jackrabbit and haven't really set up yet, I want to show you the setup guide, and we'll just give you get you familiar with that. So I'm just going to pause just for a moment on that screen. All right. And bring up the setup guide. Now, if you've just started using Jackrabbit, not as a new employee at a company who's using Jackrabbit, but if you've just started using it for your company, period, I'm just going to enlarge this page here a little bit too. When you log in, you will see the setup guide as shown on your screen now. The setup guide makes it easy for you to get underway. There are 4 basic steps. And when you're just starting off with Jackrabbit, we recommend you go through the first 3 areas, and then you can contact a Jumpstart coach, and they can help finish off and answer any questions that you might have. You'll also notice on the right-hand side, it will show you right now I have 2 users, a staff member, a class, and so on. So let's take a look at users and staff just to get a little distinction on that. What is the difference? So there are 2 A user is someone like your front desk staff who will log into Jackrabbit as part of their job, handle parent inquiries. They will help you with enrollment, billing, all of that sort of thing. So they're non-teaching staff, whereas your staff are your instructors, your teaching instructors. And typically staff do not require a user ID, whereas a user, of course, will need a user ID. So let's go ahead and add a new user. This is a new staff member who will be working in the database. So you can watch a video tutorial if you want to see it that way, or you can go directly to the form. Let's do that. When you're adding a new user into the database, it must be unique not only to your organization, but across all Jackrabbit customers. So if I type in, let's see, Sandra Smith, let's check and see if that user ID is available. And it says no, sorry, it's not available. So that's my indication. Okay, so there's another Sandra Smith somewhere else in the database, so we need to go ahead and try something different. So let's go ahead and do Sandra, middle initial, D. Smith, and let's see if that works. And it is, so now we're allowed, you can now proceed. So let's go ahead and click OK. Slight delay on my computer here, whoops, that just went wonky, there we go. So let's click OK. And we are hung up. Bear with me 1 second. That's very strange. Okay, I'm going to go at it from another angle. We will come over here, Tools, Manage Users and Permissions, and we'll add a user. So we're back to where we were before. Sandra D. Smith is available. This is yes. So now we can go ahead and enter a password. I typically like to start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know that's very unsafe. However, when you give this person their user ID, Sandra D. Smith, and password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they log in. Jackrabbit will ask them to immediately change their password to a password that is known only to them, and it secures the system. So no worries there. Now you can just finish off their information. Always make sure that you put in a good valid email address for the person. The email address is associated with their user ID, and it allows them to recover a password, or reset their password, I should say, if they happen to forget it, or maybe they've incorrectly entered it 3 times, caps lock is on or something like that. And that will, of course, allow them to get a new password and log back in. So let's go ahead and click Save here. Perfect. Now we have this new user ready to log into the system. Once they're in the system, you can then control what activities they can do. To do this, you click on User Permissions on the left-hand menu. You'll notice in the user permissions there are presently approximately 191. So if you're just setting up your database for the first time and you have a number of user IDs that you want to create, my recommendation is to go ahead and start with 1. Go through and scan through the different permissions. They're all organized for you based on categories like general, families, students and classes, and so on. Scroll through and check the box you want to have the permission active, or remove the box, the check from the box, if you want them to not have that access. Once you've done that with your first user, you can go ahead and save, and then go back, click on that particular user you just created, and then use the clone user. By using this, you can enter a brand new user ID, password, and that person's email, but it will take on all of the permissions that you set for that previous person. That way you don't have to go through and check permissions for each and every person. We do recommend that you have 1 user in your database that is indicated as a system administrator, where they have all permissions active. So you can click check all, and that person would be responsible for resetting passwords if that were to happen, but basically have all the access to the system so you can manage it internally. Great. So that's a user. Now let's take a look at adding a staff member. Staff is a little bit different. Right from this menu here, I can go over to Staff and Add Staff. You can do this from the setup guide as well, of course. And entering a staff, and I'll just remind you that a staff member is an instructor. So I'm going to go ahead and, well, let's just put in Steve Smith. And you want to enter their email address. Now, if this person was an instructor and did work inside your database, you can link those two together, so they only need to use one login. In this case, I'm just adding a teacher here that won't be working in Jackrabbit otherwise. We can auto-assign a staff portal login. Through the staff portal, your instructors can take attendance, they can see their student schedules, they can communicate with students in classes, emailing them, and so on. So it's a good plan to auto-assign a staff portal login and send the portal login email that will send that new staff member the instructions to get started with that. So that's a good thing to do. I'm going to uncheck these because that fake email might actually be live for someone. We don't want to send them a phony message. So the staff member is now assigned. Now I have a new instructor. I can go over and take a look at classes. Right now I don't have this instructor assigned to any class. So we need to look at classes. So we'll go over to a class. Let's list active classes. In fact, I'm going to show you how to add a class, and then we'll add this instructor to it. So I'm going to go Classes, Add Class. Here you can add the class name, Test Demo Class. Always a good idea to make your class names as distinctive as possible. The instructor I can now choose here, and you see the instructor I just created, Steve Smith, can be added here. Our sessions, your session indicates the time when this class will be active. Some of you may have complete perpetual enrollment. You may have a session that's an entire year. You may have it that's just summer. So let's do summer 2017. This indicates potential date conflict. So our current dates for this class and the new session dates, I just want to use the session dates. I'll show you where to set up sessions in a moment. Always indicate what days of the week the class will start, the time of day the class will start. Let's just say that starts at 10 a.m. It lasts for 1 hour, so it goes to 11 a.m. and the duration is automatically, whoops, calculated for you once I've entered that in correctly. There we go. And now this duration will indicate class length of 1 hour. Tuition fee, how much do you charge for that class? Just go ahead and put in the tuition fee. Tuition billing method, do you charge by total hours or by class fee? This is a good question to ask, but at this time, we're not getting into billing in this webinar, but we do have a billing webinar tomorrow that I do encourage you to join. And in the follow-up email from today, you will receive a link to register for that billing webinar. Category 1, this is your revenue categories that we spoke of a little earlier. Let's go ahead and just choose one for this. Let's say it's a gymnastics class. Categories 2 and 3 are optional. You can put those in if you need further distinction of that class. In this case, we're just going to do a category 1 and a category 2. Please be sure to fill in your description of the class. That's really important if you're using online registration, but also internally for your own staff to know more detail on this class should a parent call and want to know more about it. And then you have a few other options here where you want to display on your website, allow web registration, and so on. So at this point, you have a choice of just saving. You can save and add a new class, or if you're creating if you have various of you want to save a copy of this class, maybe you offer the same class multiple times in the week, go ahead and save and copy class. I'm just going to go ahead and save. And now this class is ready. Now if I go into the instructor tab, you'll see there's that Steve Smith that I just added just a little bit ago. So that's the basics of adding a class. Let's go back now. Click home here. One of the things also in the setup guide that will show you is setting up your category 1 values. So I'm going to go under tools And you can access your setup guide simply by clicking here. We can go over to categories and classes, and you can again go to the form, or you can watch a video tutorial first if you wish to do so. Let's go here. Now, remember at the outset when I showed you the weekly view and all those colors were showing? This is where you can set those colors. So your income categories, or your category 1, are all defined here. You'll find with a brand new database, we will have some defaults in there for you. You're welcome to delete any of those which do not apply to you. And you can also add new ones if you want. You can also edit existing ones. When you do edit, once you set up, it's a good idea not to edit them simply because they don't update any category value that has been used in the past. It doesn't go back and fix all of those. If you need to do that, contact our support team. Okay, to change those colors, just click on the little crayon icon here, and way off to the right there, whoops, I just hit it again. We'll show you all the different colors. Now we recommend that you stick to the lighter tones. This allows you to read the text on the weekly view through the color. So it's a good idea to do that. So you can customize those there. I was also showing you earlier category 2 and 3. Let's just cancel out of that. Category 2 and 3, these are also customizable. These are all done right in this area, but they're optional. So your Jumpstart coach will also be able to assist you very well in helping you set this up. The room view I showed you on that weekly view are customized here. So depending on what type of organization you are, and if you have specific names or room numbers, you can indicate them all here, and that way on the room view you can see exactly what class is happening in what room during the day. And your session values. I touched on sessions when setting up a class. What exactly are sessions? Sessions allow you to basically draw a line in the sand where your classes start and end. Some of you have perpetual enrollment. Even if you do, you may want to have a session from January 1 to December 31. At the end of each session, whatever length it happens to be, there's a process where you would close that session. You can copy your classes over to the next session, and you can even copy enrollment if you wish to do so. The beauty of this is if you get into that best practice, as you carry on using the database, you'll be able to pull reports based on retention. So, for example, how many students were enrolled in my fall session that did not follow through and register in my winter session? And you can find those particular students, and that way you can market directly to them and find out why they're not coming back in, or entice them to come back or something like that. So there are other ways to do that, but setting up sessions is the most effective way. So you always have a start and an end date of your session and a registration start date. If you notice here, there are two columns, one marked private and one marked hide. Private are those that you do not want shown to the outside public through web registration or through your parent portal. The hide will put away any old sessions that are no longer being used. You don't want to delete them because you want to be able to report on them down the road. But if it's a past session, you don't want it active in your current drop-down menus, so you simply hide them. So that keeps it nice and clean. All right, so those are some of the drop-down lists, and if you go into the setup guide, under categories and classes, this will walk you through that as well. Okay, and of course, your Jumpstart coach, if you're using one, will be able to help you there as well. Excellent. Now, the last couple of things before we open a question and answer are adding your families and students. There's a couple of ways to do this. Now, if you're already working with an existing database, this isn't really applicable to you, but for those of you who are just starting out now, adding families manually can take a little while. If you have an existing database of clients, families, classes, any information that can be exported to Excel, you can then import it into Jackrabbit. And we're happy to do that for you, no charge. So you can click here where it says have data to import. This will give you a couple of options. I recommend using the I want to request assistance. Why not let us work with you to import your data? Basically, we'll contact you. Our imports team are experienced in this. Find out what you're currently working with, what data you have to import. They'll provide you a form. You send that back to them, and they take care of the rest. So definitely take advantage of that opportunity, and it makes your job so much easier in getting set up. If you're just adding a new family the manual way, whoops, this is importing manually. My apologies. Let me go back here, and add family manually. To add a new family, you would use the quick registration form. Now this could be found through the setup guide or under families, quick registration. And it pops up a registration form, and in one page you can enter all the information that you need, including family, contacts, students. You can enroll students into this class, into classes, up to 5 classes per student, and you can actually add up to 5 students on here. Collect billing information, and even send an email confirmation to the family. So it's very simple to add on the fly new families. But if you're just setting up and you've got hundreds to enter, use the data import option and let us help you with that. Great. So the final section, the fees and payments, this is covered in tomorrow's webinar. It's also at 1 p.m. hosted by Catherine tomorrow. So we do recommend that you join us, and the link for that will be sent to you in the follow-up email. So this concludes today's Getting Started webinar. We hope that this has given you some overview and a little bit of orientation. I'm happy to take any questions that you might have on the general setup of your database. Please note I'm not able to speak directly to anything specific to your database, more just in the general use of Jackrabbit. But feel free to reach out to a Jumpstart coach. Let me just pull you back up to the Help Center here. And if you're brand new to Jackrabbit, go ahead and schedule a call with a product coach if you haven't already done so, and that will get you underway. The Help Center, let me just click through to here so you can see what the Help Center looks like. Our Help Center will take you through a variety of different guides, best practices and procedures, online integration, e-payments if you want to start accepting credit cards, and then we also have links to our training videos, more of the import, FAQs, and so on. On the left-hand side, you can expand these. First, Jackrabbit, the Facebook user group. You can also get a direct link here, and you can just go to the group page just by clicking here. Join the group, and we'll review your request, make sure you're one of us, and get you underway. And the how-to guide will take you on every aspect of Jackrabbit, so you can use that for some help as well. Excellent. So at this time, are there any questions? If there's any questions, please feel free to type in your question in the chat box, and I'll be happy to answer. You can also raise your hand, and I can unmute you, and you can speak openly to the group, and we can take questions that way. Looks pretty quiet. Remember, we will be sending you a recording of this message, this webinar, so keep watch for that in approximately 1 hour. Great. So it appears there are no questions on the floor, so I won't keep you any longer. Thank you so much for joining us today for Getting Started with Jackrabbit. My name is Graham Bingham. Have a good rest of your day. I'll end the webinar now.